Hey, happy Tuesday, beautiful souls, wherever you are on this phenomenal planet. It is time for Shift Your Thinking Tuesdays, where we transform our inner experience to a phenomenal outer experience for 13 minutes of our time, of our day. We do it together. We connect, build, and share. Jump in the chat box, say hi, say hello. Let me know if this is your first time to Shift Your Thinking Tuesday with yours truly, Lisa P. Yes. So for those of you who are viewing me online, you will notice I'm streaming from a different page because interestingly, Facebook is having some disruptions and kicking me off. So be sure that you're connected on the radio podcast so that you don't miss the awesomeness that we are doing. So, okay. All right, here we go. Let's jump into it. This is episode 71. Episode 71. Can you imagine when I first started this, like this wild idea concept? Make sure we plug this in here. 71. And I'm calling this episode a dying genius. Yes, I said it. A dying genius. Episode 71 on Shift Your Thinking, a dying genius. And we are continuing our segments from Dean Del Sesto. Shift Your Thinking, 200 ways to improve our lives. And you guessed it, he talks about 200 ways. So yes, we are going to have 200 episodes completed. And I trust that you are applying what we are learning. Are you applying what we are learning? I have. I've been, my level of transformation is next level. It is so next level. And let me do this real quick because I want to make sure I add the caption. There we go. Boom, shift your thinking. And all right, yay. I trust you had a great weekend. Shout out to those who are jumping on the Instagram. Shout out fam. Hello, John. And I just returned from ATL, from the We Buy Black convention. I was one of the guest panelists of the B2B speed dating session. So those attendees got to date me for 2 days, get in this dome of mine and pick my brain. And really it was awesome, actually. Young and old, all ages had great questions. And so he says, what happened with Byron Allen? I was using that as an analogy for my Wednesday show. So you can tune in on that. And you can research. Byron Allen actually just won a ruling that will allow him to continue pursuing his case against Comcast. They were basically just discriminating against him, and they would not actually feature his channel. He owns ESN. So they were not featuring his channel based on race. So go figure. And I equated that to something that I see happening in the real estate industry that agents may not know they're doing. They might know they're doing. And they are subjecting their sellers to that, to discrimination against a buyer. And I'm going to talk more about that on Wednesday on my Ready, Set, Real Estate show. So tune in for that because I'm dropping gems and I'm giving you ammo for positioning. All right. So thanks for that question. So we're on Shift Your Thinking, where we transform our minds, because anything I teach, show, educate, empower you on real estate is moot, is useful if your mind, body, spirit is not ready to receive it. So this is the space and the place where we do a little bit of transformation, a little personal development, get a little love done. And like I said, if for whatever reason you can't catch me on Facebook, Facebook keeps kicking me off. I don't know what's going on. Do know that we broadcast on radio, podcasts everywhere. Shout out to our replay listeners on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Breaker, Anchor FM, and that list goes on and on. We're available in over 4 million car dashboards everywhere. Exactly. I agree, which is why I do my show. He says it's like the civil rights era never happened. No, that was actually to win a war. That's why. It was, when they need us to count and matter, they changed laws and policies so that our numbers can count. Sidebar, another topic. So I'm in a section that says a dying person has the perspective of a genius. Did you hear that? A dying person has a perspective of a genius. Therefore, a living person would be wise to think more like a dying person. I can resonate with this topic and I could just go off on a whole nother tangent. It won't be a tangent, it'd be so related because what you see here today before you is my Phoenix moments. I transformed into who I am today when I was ready to die. I wasn't suicidal, but I was ready to die because of the situation that I was in. It was violent. It was traumatic. And I had to make a choice for myself. Did I want to continue to be on this earth? And I had to make that decision. So until I started to position myself for death, I went and took out a life insurance policy to make sure that if anything happened to me, that my children and my legacy, everything that I've created would be taken care of. I learned how to let go, or I should say I learned how to choose what mattered when I lost everything. And let me say this, I am launching a Spirit of Business workshop for you clairvoyant entrepreneurs. There are some of you who are connected with me that are very gifted. You guys have some special gifts. I'm clairvoyant and sentient. So I'm one of the clairs. I've said this before on the show. And I channel messages, yes, because I'm very in tune and connected. I'm very in tune and connected. I'm in that space of owning that more. I use a lot of my gifts actually in business. That has helped me quantify my relationships, my success, my creativity. So I'm launching, this is not for everyone. I'm launching with a collaboration of Rob Bay, of Trill Alchemy, the human coder. We're doing a collaboration of the Spirit of Business. So stay tuned when I open that registration. We're going to open up that registration in December 7th. And you're going to learn all that I have learned in the course of my business over the last 15 years plus. I've created a lot of things, y'all. And that was me taking trauma and tragedy and the things that I go through. And I create money out of that. And so if this is you, if you're a mad doctor inventor, clairvoyant entrepreneur, or a tempered creator, I have something special for you because some of you are resonating with me because it's almost like the X-Men. We recognize one another. So I'm just talking to you right now. If you are listening, you're on the show, you're chiming in. If this is you and you are trying to figure out ways to monetize your gifts, this is going to be for you, the Spirit of Business. Because everybody's out here talking about go be an entrepreneur, go grind and hustle, but they are so disconnected with the innate gifts that you came here with. It requires a certain person and a certain team to show you how to extract that. So I'm going to be really excited about doing that with Rob. Yes. Okay. I just had to bring that out here, especially as we're talking about this subject. A dying person has the perspective of a genius. This is so true. All right, I'm gonna jump in. Enough of that. Yes, I'm past due. I'm late, but right on time. There's no such thing as late. I'm right on time. That's actually a spirit of business technique. That's a spirit of business truth and an entrepreneur essential, because you're always being positioned for something. There's someone who needs to listen and tune in. And had I started at 8:10, they would have missed it. But because I started at this time, they're connected, they're going to hear me. All right. So the author says, have you ever contemplated what would be important to you if you were dying? We talked about this on some of the last episodes. Don't be afraid of death. Let that marinate. There are tons of people. People die every day. People die in tragic situations. I just heard yesterday of someone dying in a very tragic way. Condolences to their family. Something local happened, and it's a horrible thing. Some people have died in the fires. Paradise burns is what's happening. You know, it's become national, maybe international news that a part of California is burning. Floods, all these tragic things, and then, you know, local wars. And I have to say local wars, when we have local crimes and offenses happening against one another. And so have you processed what that end game looks like for you? Why are you doing what you're doing? Your spirit lives on. Absolutely. This vessel, not so much. He says one fact is true, that day will come for all of us, right? Death and taxes. You may not pay taxes, so, but death is for sure. Death is for certain. He says, for some, it will be sudden, right? Just like I shared. Others are given an amount of time. And for others, RIP is many years down the road. One of my spiritual gifts is I have the gift of foresight. And I know actually when people are I'm alerted of when death is coming. I've known that since I was 11. I have that ability that sometimes it's revealed to me when death is near or when someone is going to transition. I get that news. So I live a very different life because I know death is very real. And when I started to own that ability, that's when I started to live and move through life very differently. It's become more fun. And I do stuff like this. Shift your thinking. This is fun for me. Right? It's been fun. I could tell you're not fond of him, right? I've got someone who's not fond of Trump right now online. No worries. I get it. Everyone has rights to that. Political positions and opinions. The question for me is, does it consume you? Is it consuming you, what is happening in the political arena? Focus on you. Position yourself. So regardless of what is happening in the economic and political and social arenas, you thrive, you win. This is what this is about. This is what this transformation is about. This space that you win. Because when you are winning, you can pour into your family, your community, and your country. Starts with you. The most work you're going to do, and I'm quoting Jim Rohn, and we know this to be true, the most work that you are ever going to do is inner work. It's not the external work. Inner work. So the author says, though it's hard to do, he says, yet we have a strange aversion to death, causing us to avoid thinking about what value death could hold for us. He says, though it's hard to do, investing some thought about your passing may bring perspectives that would make our current lives more fulfilling and balanced. This is absolutely true, because it was when I started to think about death and plan for death. And for those of you who are spiritual, religious, however, whatever your walk of life, many truths, many ways to the truth, right? Many ways to skin a fish. There are many ways to truth. whatever that is for you, because you are a co-creator. So if that's something that you accept to be true, then it's true for you. It's not your job to perpetuate or put that on someone else because you don't know what their journey is. Be a respecter of all truths. It will liberate you. It will give you a more sense of freedom. This is what Shift Your Thinking is about. Do you know those who are respecter of truths are liberated from feeling responsible for everybody's gateway to heaven? I'm not here for that. I'm here to fulfill and be in harmony. I think harmony is a better word, because balance, there's no such thing. There's no balance. You're always going to focus on one thing over the other, and there's always going to be, there's not going to be balance in all aspects of your lives. I can say that especially for me, right? Because I can be in business. There are going to be aspects of my personal life, my family relationships, my personal relationships that are not going to be in balance when I'm focusing on business. So let's say harmony. We want to be in harmonious peace with those aspects of our lives. Just shift your thinking here. That's all. He says the reason we procrastinate on contemplating these things is in any detail is simple. We always think we have more time until, of course, we don't. So how many of you think you're sitting around here going to live forever? You always have time to do it. I will always have time to get to it. Is this you? I need you to be a dying genius. That's what this episode is about. Because when you are prepared to die, that is when you liberate yourself to fully live. He says, through a bit of due diligence, my favorite words, because I'm in real estate, so I'm biased. I'm always talking about due diligence. Through a bit of due diligence, he says, I've discovered that if you ask anyone who is dying what is important to them, they won't mention, listen to this, fancy cars, nice jewelry, lavish vacations, business success stories, or their last great accomplishment. Wow, you mean to tell me none of that ish matters? You out here grinding and hustling hard for what? None of that ish matters. Wow. I'm having this very profound and synchronistic moment right now because I've been traveling every weekend. I come back, I work, I've been tapping in. I'm highly creative. I'm really excited about the way I'm redesigning my lifestyle. Why? I just shared this with someone. Someone was asking me, they said something about the way I move. You know, I'm not a showy person. I don't really show material things, and I'm not showing all this stuff. And I said, the reason I don't do that, the reason I'm not that type of person is because I've had to go through a period of life where I have lost everything. And in losing everything, I now get to choose what really matters to me. I've lost all that stuff, all the material stuff that I put so much work into. I went through a period of time that I had perfect A-grade credit. I had everything, y'all. And I was so disconnected from the world and reality around me because I was so focused on the material stuff that I had and that I owned and that I possessed. And when it was lost, taken, all kinds of stuff, I tell you, I've been broke, burned, stabbed, beaten, you name it. I've been through it. And now, as a dying genius, I get to choose what it is that I want to experience in this lifetime, what is truly fulfilling. That's why I do this, because it's really a connection, seeking to connect. I've immortalized myself in a digital world. I'm on episode 71. Go back and view the archives. My children's children, the kids I connect with through a Real Estate 100 Youth Foundation, that supersedes me. That's just for me, may not be for you. But we are at the space right now where we're going to use this day, this week, as a point of conversation as you contemplate death and what really matters. You'll have a profound perspective on life. I love this. I love this because this is my, as they would say, my wheelhouse. I'm very comfortable in talking about death. Most people are not, which is why I'm an advocate of two things: real estate and life insurance, which is also love insurance. Those are the two vehicles in this material world that creates wealth and legacies. You want to argue with me? Let's argue. I'll continue to get to wrap this up. He says, and rarely will you find them protecting any facades. You will, however, find an urgency to get close to God. Didn't I just say do the inner work? The God in you, I am divinity, you are divinity. The God in you, not pie in the sky, not somebody out there, not the deity in the sky, in you, as you, moving through you. He says a refreshing authenticity, a desire to bring reconciliation to broken relationships, a commitment to share meaningful and long overdue thoughts with others, and a desire to show love in ways that never have before. I'm always showing love, especially on this show. Love. I love you. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. I love you. This is why when I end the show, I say, I love you. When I open it up, I say, thank you. I love you. Lathan's son, I love you. Hold on, Poppy. Let me finish up the show. He's on vacation tonight. We're going to go have breakfast when I'm done. So he says, the author continues and says, the idea that these important things show up on so many deathbeds is unfortunate, because at that point, little time is left to experience the real value in the important, often take it for granted areas of life, most notably immediate family, extended family, and friends. Woo, this is a heavy one. He says, taking your life to the end has the ability to re-engineer it from here on out. The value that comes from a small investment of thought will improve your quality of life. In fact, it may even extend it a bit. So, as I get ready to wrap this up, be a dying genius. This was my favorite one so far. This was my favorite one. Oh my goodness. This was super powerful, profound. All right. This week, take a time, marinate, end result, exit game. What really matters to you when you are planning for your own demise? Be sure to connect, build, and share with me on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn at lasuperagent, add the .com, subscribe to the newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to the show, because a lot of you didn't catch me on Facebook today because Facebook was doing stuff, not me. But you can check me out on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Breaker, Stitcher Radio. Love you, love you, love you. Have a powerful and productive week. See you next week.